What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the KCM. It's time for week 6. We got Shine versus Snow and a pretty interesting lineup for you guys this week. Let me go ahead and bring that up. You can see here, mixing it up a little bit there on the Zerg squad, throwing in Shine and Action along with Effort. We've got Rush, Barracks Roll. That's a pretty strong lineup for the Terrans as well, but it seems like the audience members really favoring Protoss this week. 79% of audience members think that Protoss is going to take this one.
I mean, I wouldn't put it at 79%, but I can kind of agree with the sentiment that Snow and Best are just an absolute powerhouse of a duo. And maybe, yeah, without, you know, some of these other Zerg players like Soma and what have you not around, I can see where they're kind of getting at with those numbers, but I think it's a lot closer to 50-60 for Protoss. And that's a very respectable Terran lineup as well. Even Shine, I mean, he took out 3 players in a row last time he was on, so yeah, I don't want to count either of these other 2 teams out.
No, we could have an upset, but Protoss has been performing this season of KCM. They're way ahead in the points, and audience members are thinking that that's going to continue. Let us know your predictions in the comments down below before the video, guys, not at the end of the video, all right? No cheating.
Yeah, that would be preferable. You can't make predictions after you already know what happens. But yeah, I mean, this is a good map for ZVP as well. So, you know, Snow has struggled a little bit on it, but pretty much every Protoss player has struggled on it against Zerg. So if Shine causes a bit of an upset and takes out Snow right off the bat, I think it blows this whole week open. But that's easier said than done. I mean, Snow's a finalist. He's competed against literally the best Zerg in the world and did pretty good. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be easy for Shine, but he is taking his natural very quickly at this third base location.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Protoss, or I've seen a lot of Zerg players do this, excuse me. Just avoid the likelihood of a probe coming in and blocking that by taking the third.
Yeah.
Kind of at the front there. It wasn't necessary in this case, but he's kind of following a build order right now, just making sure that he gets into the position that he wants to be. That second Overlord's going to arrive just in time for a potential cannon rush that could be coming in. He would have to pull a long way to prevent that, but he also has this pool coming up. He's not doing anything too crazy like getting into, you know, 3 hatch before pool, and he's also gotten this gas pretty quickly. I wonder what we're going to see from him. Shine, Mr. Bag of Builds, already doing something a little bit interesting here, taking that third way out and then not getting the natural just yet, going into a layer here most likely very early on.
That was a speed first build, but yeah, I mean, he'll still be able to get a layer at a very reasonable timing. And I guess Shine has mapped out a build order for needing to take this natural third, so he's happy to do that no matter what happens in the early game. He even had his second Overlord checking for any possible shenanigans in the way of a cannon rush temporarily. But there's the lair on the way at the natural third, obfuscating the timing of that. And Snow has gotten away with not making a cannon for ages, so he's pretty optimized himself over on the other side of the map.
He's managed to get this gateway down and his gas as well. Gonna be grabbing this Cyber Core. You can see he's only got 1 pylon, so was able to really get the optimization going here with the Nexus timing and everything winding out for himself. We'll have a very quick Corsair to come across and confirm exactly what Shine is up to. Hydra Den in the main. Is this going to be some sort of lurker bust, some sort of lurker timing? Because a lot of Protoss players kind of expect that high ground to be a deterrent for any early bust going forward, but against a lurker, it doesn't really help. Lurkers do not have mischance on high ground.
Well, we know that Shine is very cheesy. He's going to try and poke in here with the Zerglings, targets down the probe, slips in some of those Zerglings. Pretty good probe pull from Snow, but he doesn't block 3 Zerglings getting into the main, and maybe having the hatchery here at the natural third will make the rallying of units even better for Shine. Maybe that's another reason why he wanted to take the hatchery there, so it's a much less rush distance to get reinforcements down. He could, like, say, pull lava there and make the Hydras from that base to get them right in the front, morphing lurkers as soon as possible if he wants to. But Snow's not messing around. He's immediately made a safety cannon in his main mineral line to stop any critical damage from being sustained.
Yeah, there's Hydras coming out right now from the natural, or the third base, excuse me, diving in once again. It pops 2 probes really quickly and then runs past here once again over towards that main base. Now, there's nothing in front of the natural, so Snow could come out and try to scout this. In fact, he will be sending a probe out, so maybe a mistake here from Shine, not keeping something alive to just prevent this probe from coming out. Is he going to see the Hydras coming forward here? This is kind of a key moment. Lings are going to come out and block that. Very nice move from Shine.
Yeah, he has to catch this probe as soon as it gets to the third base and sees there's no drones mining. Well, there's one mining, but it'll very quickly tell Snow what is going on. And Dragoon gonna try and bat away this Overlord. Needs to be careful not to get surrounded. Does get a pretty good surface area on that to shave away some of the shields. He can now go for a full surround. Maybe a bit of a mistake for Snow coming out this far. If he loses one of those units, he's in a lot of trouble. Looks like the Zealot has been caught and cleaned up. 4 lurkers are on the way, so they could basically 3 volley down these cannons in the wall. And there is 2, so that's like enough to make it a little bit trickier for Shine. But if the third cannon gets finished, it's almost impossible for this rush to actually work. So he's going to have to hit the timing right before a third cannon warps in.
It all comes down to this, guys. He's going to pull the trigger on it right now. Lurkers run up to the wall, targeting down onto this first cannon. He's doing a lot of damage to the Dragoon as well. Gets rid of that. Ling's going to spill in afterwards, and it's all but over. Snow is going to be taken out first. You've got to be kidding me. The big powerhouse in the lineup is going to be eliminated by Shine. What an upset here.
We've talked about it a lot, how strong that lurker bust is in ZVP. You don't get to see it very often, but when Shine's in the mix, you really do have to have your wits about you. That completely blows this week out of the water. Those 79% predictions getting absolutely torn apart. Protoss is in a little bit of trouble now.
Jeez, I wonder what the betting odds would be on Shine winning game number 1 versus Snow. I'm sure that you could have made a lot of money if you put your money on Shine.
Yeah,
that's that's not an expected outcome here, especially by those audience members.
What's even funnier is like that build is actually a little bit harder to execute on that map in particular. The only reason it worked was because Rush thought he was a lot more safe than he actually was. That could be a double-edged sword on maps like that, where you feel like you can be a little bit extra greedier and cut on your cannon timings and what have you. And yeah, it got majorly punished as a result. If you make like 3 cannons right off the bat, you're pretty much safe against something like Shine pulled out there, but he wanted to get away with the bare minimum, trying to be a little bit greedy and more optimized. And yeah, Shine kind of played him like a fiddle. And he's not just missed a bag of builds. He's got a bag of builds, but it's like a bag of holding. Like the amount of builds inside that bag is just otherworldly. There's more builds in the bag than the bag seems to be able to hold. It's crazy what he's able to do. Being an observer for ASL and other events has really given him such an insight into how to be one of the best cheesy players on the planet.
I think really feeling like his pro league, getting into his pro league element. There used to be pro league guys back in the day where teams would fight against each other and certain players would be brought out with well practiced and well oiled builds to snipe strong opponents off of other teams. And I really feel like Shine would have been perfect for that that type of tournament. I'm sure that he was around back then. I'm not sure how prominent he was, but that was just a perfect kind of idea made tangible there by putting it together and destroying Snow, someone who should have been able to wipe the floor with Shine on paper.
Yeah, I don't think the odds... Oh, he's actually hiding his third hatchery at the very top of his base here. It might be a little bit tricky for Royal to scout and identify that right off the bat. Gets a couple of hot tour, or just one hot tour on the Marine. Makes it a little bit easier to kill with Zerglings later on. Usually doesn't really amount to much, but yeah, 3 hatchery before pull build here from Shine, but he has to kind of block this SCV from seeing the pull timing, or he will definitely figure this out. It's just so obvious what the Zerg is up to when you see this pull timing. He's even gonna check to the north of the base right off the bat, anticipating that Shine might be going for something like that. And even though he got a shot from the Marines, he's kind of like trying to make Royal a bit more hesitant to come out with those initial Marines, but Royal didn't even blink twice. He's just sent those Marines right across the map, even before he got the confirmation scout, just in case it was something like this. So now he's got a better punish on Shine here now. But Shine knows that this is probably coming, so he's not even made drones in this natural.
Yeah, and he's just going to make Lings here in a moment. What can Royal do with these 2 Marines? Can he actually get in here and deal any damage? These are fully committed Marines. They're not getting out of here alive. They don't have a return ticket. And so they're just going to try to get whatever kills they can before they perish. Can he get anything here? Oh, so close. So close. So close. That drone right there. Suicidal. Absolutely suicidal. He's not targeting it. He's not targeting it, Shun. He does get one more. But he could have gotten... He could have gotten even an additional drone there. This was a really risky build for Shine. Will it pay off, though? With 3 drones lost, it feels like he's definitely even the odds Royal has.
Yeah, if he got the 3rd drone there, that would have definitely made things harder for Shine. Getting 2 kills, I think Shine's okay. I mean, it kind of takes away the advantage of having that 3 hatch before 3 hatch before pull, but it doesn't really matter too much. It's cross map. The timings of Royal punishing this later are even slower, so Shine can get away with not making any Sunkens for quite some time and what have you. So he can rely predominantly on just a few Zerglings to get some map control now. Looks like we're gonna have a very quick eBay from Royal, staying on 1 barracks. Now, what does Royal want to do? Does he want to stay on like 2 barracks and go really tech heavy with like a 6-minute factory? Or does he want to go right into 3 barracks? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, going into a 5 racks play actually was a very strong build against 3 hatch before gas, but 3 hatch before pool, maybe the same logic applies. I'm not sure. Your tech is going to be a bit slower. You're going to have more units. And you don't need the factory quite as early, so maybe going with that higher barracks count will work out well for Royal.
I think so. I mean, you can go tech here and try and rush into a factory, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. It would be way better to go like 4 or 5 racks with a +1 upgrade here. And he killed 2 drones, so I think the 5 racks is still very viable. I think he is thinking about plopping that down eventually. Yeah, there's the 5th racks now. It makes total sense. I think you do have to go for something like that here.
Oof. SCV makes it into the main, gonna get the confirmation. I mean, this confirmation, it's not 100% necessary, but it certainly feels good when you're going up against Shine, right? Shine, you just never know exactly what he might be up to, so getting in there and confirming everything makes Royal feel much more comfy and cozy with his decision to go 5 racks. It's not a build that we see very often anymore, but we don't really see 3 hatch before gas anymore either, so this is kind of a unique game.
But Shine's also placed this 3rd hatchery at the top of his base to kind of put the idea into Royal's head that, oh, there could be a hidden den up there and this could be a lurker build. So yeah, getting the confirmation scout feels like a necessity as Terran, just to be able to min-max against that. You don't want to blow both scanners and still not know for sure what's going on. Catching this Overlord is huge though. That kind of, I think Shine actually replaced it ahead of time, so he's not really done in by that, but it's still another lava that you're going to have to waste, and 100 minerals that could have been the Mutalisk to replace that eventually, so it is still a bit of a win for Royal.
He's built a lot of Lings here too. You can see that he had a bit of a glut of gas, so making some extra Lings just in case that bust was actually going to happen. Like there's no other reason really to get slow Lings at this point. He was expecting there to be a bunch of Marines ramming it down into his natural, and he would need emergency forces to try and hold that back. Now the mutas are out, but they're not in very high number, and they're going to get caught here as they rally. A little bit of damage on that. Big bio ball here, and this is what the 5 Rex play gets you. Just huge waves of bio coming across the map with a very strong upgrade timing as well. Much later vessels, but you don't really need it if you're just fighting against mutas and lings in the mid game.
Yeah, you do have to win against the mutalisks to feel comfortable transitioning. Like, it's a very slow factory timing. It's not really semi-all-in per se, but he's already kind of getting compensation by forcing this many Sunkens. That's kind of what you need to do. You need to force the Zerg to be less optimized going forward. And he has technically been successful in that. For some reason, Shine's trying to run it down on that bunker. I think he might actually kill that bunker. It's kind of crazy. Now he opens up the turrets in the natural.
One Marine inside the bunker there is a little bit funny. Not going to be enough. And he gets a turret as well. Not bad. Slows down the factory. These are all good points on the board for Shine. No third base yet, though. He's actually got, I believe, an evolution chamber at his natural as well. I think that was thrown down to just kind of block things up. But is he going to get an armor upgrade here? Hydra Den on the way. Okay, never mind. More of a traditional transition.
Well, I guess you could get the armor upgrade, but it doesn't feel good because there's so many situations where the Terran comes and snipes that building before it even finishes up, right? So it's not usually a good idea unless you've got total map control, and having total map control against a 5 Rex is a big ask of the Zerg user. He's even cutting mutalisks at this time, just having the bare minimum to put on pressure and not die if there was going to be some kind of counter attack. Like, sometimes you'll overfill mutas, so you'll have like way more than 11, so you can keep cycling out low HP ones for fresh ones, but he hasn't done that here. And the big bio blob looks like it's making its way downtown now to the natural. I think he's got like 5 Sunkens, so he should be okay against this. So actually this is pretty good for Shine because he's killing quite a lot of SCVs. Ooh. That's painful.
Yeah, I mean, he was gonna cycle through some. Oh, he is gonna lose that evolution chamber. Hopefully he wasn't building anything in there. Hopefully he didn't start an upgrade in there, and that was part of his plan. Because that sure went down fast, and it really didn't cost him anything. More sunken colonies being made here. Hive just popping out in large number. Does he have a hive coming? I don't know if he does.
He must do. If he's playing like this, you'd think that he was making a hive. He's losing all of his hydras. Shine's in trouble. He's trying to make some panic sunkens. I'm not sure this is going to be enough anymore. He needed like a lurker egg wall to stop the Marines getting optimal surface area and buy some time. But it's not working out. The mutas are just intercepting reinforcements. They can't even come and help. I think Royal is just going to bowl him over. Yeah, he calls GG. Royal establishing dominance without really much for Shine to say about it.
Okay, Shine getting a little bit stomped there, game number 2, but that's fine. He did his job. The Zerg squad taking out Snow was definitely an accomplishment. And the sniper has been eliminated. Now we've got YSC here over at top left. And Royal once again there at the bottom left. YSC, we haven't seen this guy for a while, have we? He's been kind of out of the loop, but we've had some great Protoss lineups recently, so he must be subbing in for Mini or something like that. I'm not sure what he's up to.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. We haven't seen a lot of Mini recently, once or twice, but not a whole lot. But yeah, YSC, he's one of these guys that, you know, he's at an ASL level, but he's never really had that consistency to go super deep into the tournament. I would say he's somewhere around Scans level in terms of like ability. Just the Protoss counterpart of that. He's at a very high level. It's just there's canyons of skill difference between the pros the higher up you get. Like, you guys on the ladder are probably thinking that, oh, like an A rank is so much better than me if you're a D rank player, but there's almost that much skill difference between some of the pros. It's actually kind of insane.
Yeah, it really is. There's still possibilities of taking games off of higher skilled people, like we just saw with Snow versus Shine, but you really have to have a special build. You have to have an opening, right? You have to get. I don't want to say lucky. That's what's popping into my head, but I want to say like, yeah, things have to go a certain type of way, and you have to have a perfectly set up build to actually get rid of them.
Right.
Here, I don't think there's a massive gap of skill between YSC and Royal. I think this should actually be a pretty good match. What do you think, Shun?
Yeah, no, I think this should be an okay game. I still think Royal is favorited to win, but Royal's also choked a little bit against Protoss this last year, so I wouldn't rate him as highly as I would in the past. Like back in the day, he was like ASL champion level, almost impossible to stop in situations like this. I don't think that's the case at the moment. I think that YSC is going to be a pretty formidable challenge for him. You know, Zealot's not going to be spotted moving out. It's going to be hard for him to figure out that there's a Zealot out on the map, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. One Zealot is not that hard to fend off in the early game unless you're being super greedy with your Marine positioning, which he actually technically is right now. The Marine is in the natural, so there's going to be 2 Marines in the natural when this Zealot arrives with a third about to pop. So as long as he pulls these Marines back instantly, he'll be okay.
Yeah, this Zealot's kind of went down to the south. I guess he's waiting for the Dragoon. Gonna combo. 1 Zealot, 1 Dragoon, 1 Probe. That's actually a deadly combo. When you're usually gonna have like 3. Oh, he starts the add-on. The add-on is really scary right now.
Oh no.
This is bad. This is real bad for Royal. He's gonna try and target down the Dragoon, but the Zealot is now on top of things. If this Probe gets in front of the Marines and blocks them even a little bit, this could go extremely bad. Oh man, the SCVs end up doing it themselves, and the Probe will die, but this is disaster territory here, where tons of SCVs are going to end up going down, and there's really nothing that Royal can do about it. That add-on is going to cost him huge in this game.
Yeah, he's having to make vultures as well, just have a quicker response, and he's already lost like 1 or 2 SCVs. If he loses any more, it's pretty much a nightmare situation, but he is getting a pretty good surround on that Dragoon. He just didn't finish catching it, so now he's gonna lose the vulture. He does kill the Dragoon, I think. Oh, he just barely lets the Dragoon get away. 1 more tickle, and it would have gone down. Big blunder there from Royal. I think he can still pick that up with the vulture now, but yeah, this was not an ideal hold.
Yeah, this is definitely not ideal 100%. That does go down, and as does the Zealot, but YSC did what he wanted to with this attack. He forced a lot of SCVs off the line. He killed a ton of Marines. He killed the first vulture. He killed some SCVs. He's gonna get the second vulture. You gotta be kidding me. That's so much. That is so much work for this first 3 units out of the gateway. Can he get another one? No way. Well, wow. You said it, Shun. Royal's been choking lately against Protoss, and this is pretty rough.
Yeah, he's not a bad player. It's just he's having a really rough time against Protoss, I've noticed, and I think that's just been exemplified here. YSC almost running rings around him in the early game. There's still a strong economy for Royal behind this. The game's not over. But you have to give a slight edge to YSC after that initial engagement, just because the vultures are so slow coming onto the map and establishing any kind of map control. He's got 2 coming out now. One of them has already laid down all 3 mines, so there's only 3 mines available to Royal right now to try and get something down at the 3rd base of YSC, and YSC's already ready to intercept that from occurring.
Ooh, he's actually gonna get it. Range kicked in there just at the end of that engagement, I believe, finishing off that 1 vulture. It was the vulture with no mines remaining, so this other vulture can get a couple of mines out. Have a little bit of map control here. Ooh, run by though. Run by into the main base.
This could be good.
That's a big mistake from YSC, not having anything in that wall. Looks like this mine could end up getting some damage. Let's see if it goes off. Doesn't end up going off here. Probes in the main base are going down in large number. 4 kills, 5 kills. Oh, bit of a miss there. Hits the pylon. Can he get 1 more? He does. And even another kill there. 6 total is brutal.
Wow.
That was a big pickup there for Royal, kind of evening things out in this game.
Yeah, I definitely think that evens things out a lot here. I mean, there's the third base for YSC, but yeah, losing a little bit of mining time and that many probes doesn't feel good. So I think Royal can breathe a sigh of relief now going forward. He's not going to be fighting as much of an uphill battle. And he was already looking pretty good economically speaking. It's just that his map control and army power differential was looking pretty bad. I think he'll now be able to make up that difference. It'll take a little bit of time before YSC gets these Reavers out to do a whole lot with them. He just needs to not take any damage, and he's going to be okay. Well, YSC's going to try and poke in here with his Observer and Dragoons. There's no bunker and no siege yet, so he could actually come in here and do something if that siege doesn't finish up right now.
Yeah, I mean, he went for mines and then speed, so siege therefore should be a little bit late. There it is. It just comes in the nick of time as the mines get taken out. The Dragoons are here at the front door, but they can't really do too much. Heading back home with the Dragoons and not the Observer. He might end up getting caught here. Some vultures slipped around the back and laid these down. He does spot them. He does spot them on the way back, so going to be able to avoid disaster there. Probe transfer coming through. Very good timing here from Royal to suddenly arrive with these vultures right as the probe transfers coming into this third base. Looks like he gets about 3 to 4 probes and won't end up getting too much more than that. That's really reasonable damage for these first few vultures that have already spent their mines.
Yeah, as long as you've already spent your mines, it's actually okay to trade them for probes, as long as there's no like counter-attack that could squash you with speed zealots. And at this stage of the game, that's a long way away, so it makes sense to trade out a few vultures for some probes here. It also disrupts the timing of that transfer a little bit, making the economy of YSC struggling ever so slightly more than it would. He's going to quickly take his natural 4th mineral only after while scooping up this Reaver. So I think this is actually quite an even game. But I was actually thinking this was going to be a bit of an advantage for YSC going forward with how the initial early game took place, but Royal has done enough where this actually will be probably a pretty good game now.
Yeah, that early game was pretty dangerous. It was looking like it was going to be a massive YSC advantage, but little pokes and prods here and there from Royal. These little run-bys have done a lot for him, and he's now gearing up for, wow, a lot of factories. What is this, 6 factories?
6 factory, yeah.
All right, so this is going to be a pretty dedicated timing. Try to come across the map and siege up on this high ground over the 4th base, mineral only. That's a pretty strong position. If Royal actually gets to that spot, there's a good chance that he can just win from there, but it'll be tough going up and down all of these little pizza slices.
Yeah, ideally he wants to get 4 Goliaths as well so that he can, you know, volley down this shuttle. Because the main thing that's going to hinder him is this Reaver control of YSC. I mean, YSC's no snow, but you still have to respect the damage potential of those Reavers. So if he does get a couple of extra Goliaths out as well, that'd be great for him. He's got at least 2, so he's got some anti-air, but ideally he would like 4. He just wants to push a lot sooner, so he might skip over that and just rely on these 2 to do the heavy lifting. He scans to kill the Observers, which is a nice pick-off, but he's probably going to have a little bit of a harder time killing this shuttle with only 2 Goliaths. He's getting some good shots on it, though, already softening it up quite a lot. And now, maybe Royal feeling quite ambitious after getting that much damage on the shuttle. The +1 on the weapons has finished. He certainly could potentially roll YSC over now.
Yeah, this is a scary moment. Not a whole lot of gateways have been added yet from YSC. He's just getting this 4th base online. His production is not quite there. You can see the overall supply is really close. YSC just dumping gateways down in his main base, trying to get that production rolling. He's going to lose this shuttle. He needs to buy some more time with these Reavers if he wants to survive this attack. He's just backing up slowly here with the Reavers, slugging it to the north as this army advances. No Zealot speed done. There's the Reaver being targeted down. Zealots coming in. Speed just finishes as as this attack is starting. Very good spread here on these Dragoons as they try to target down as many tanks as they can. Not a whole lot of stuff inside the army besides the tanks, and the Zealot rally makes it through just in the nick of time to kind of bolster this bit of gateway army here and prevent Royal from taking that high ground. So critical that he's not allowed to just grab that away immediately.
Yeah, the initial tank leapfrogging was great from Royal, but he's in a bit of a trouble now. Needs to be careful not to get mind dragged by these Zealots. He's a little bit out of position to attack into this pizza slice. Needs to be super careful. He's not quite got the threshold of vultures necessary to screen against these. There's a massive bomb on those tanks as well. Royal could throw the game if he's not careful. He's only got a few tanks remaining. Does still have control of this pizza slice by the skin of his teeth, but more and more rallies will be coming out of YSC to bowl this attack over if it overstays its welcome much longer. I think Royal can still make this work, but his window is closing rapidly.
Only 2 tanks left, and of course another 2 are going to pop out here shortly. Vultures are going to look for a little bit of a run by, try to cause a bit of a problem for YSC, but I think YSC's done a great job of holding this all back. He's done a great job of dealing with this chaotic situation. He is banking up quite a bit of minerals there back at home, but you can see the supply differential. Remember, just moments ago, right before that attack, there was like maybe 8 supply difference between the Terran and Protoss. Now there's a 50 supply difference. So YSC is definitely starting to pull ahead here. Royal falling back. He's no longer going to continue this push, and he'll have to desperately try to grab a 3rd base.
Yeah, Royal did a great job initially after killing the shuttle. He was like getting great siege locations to keep shelling the Reavers that were slugged out. But after that, he should have pulled back ever so slightly and waited for more reinforcements rather than just unsieging and trying to get up onto the high ground. Really helped out YSC hold against this. Now he's in a little bit of, you know, crisis management. He's got a pretty good run by with some vultures here, but not a lot back at home to defend. So YSC might be considering bowling this over. There's not a lot of vultures to stop this force from just running it down. He's trying to clear out the mines with a few Zealots. He does clear out some. There's some pretty good mine connections on those Zealots, but is it going to be enough? Starting to target down the tanks now. Here's YSC. Luckily, some vultures coming back to help out. I think Royal can just barely clear this out, but the problem is he's going to lose almost all of his tanks in the process, even if he does survive.
Yeah, it looks like he barely survives. I mean, look at how much money is in the bank for YSC. If this was best right here, I think you just get absolutely stomped by the rallies, because there's so much money that could have been Zealots running it down across the map. Just wasn't quite there. I mean, also clearing through those mines wasn't the best for YSC. He took a lot of damage. He tried to drop Zealots on the mines as he was pushing forward, but he was a little bit too eager with the follow-up Zealots, and so the mine's still connected on a lot of that front line. That gives Royal a little bit of hope here. Clearing that army allows him to, you know, keep up this vulture harassment and look for opportunities to keep expanding, right? He might be able to get into a 4th base, eventually start these further upgrades as well, but it's going to be a long slog for him from here.
Yeah, Royal's just now starting that 4th base on location at 9 o'clock. YSC taking that 5th base. Oh, there's a bit of a vulture, or sorry, a tank vulture drop maybe going into the main base here. But YSC's just now put something over at that pocket expansion to spot for that, but he doesn't barely see the dropship. There's like 1 or 2 hex tiles not covered by that probe. He scans as well and sees the cannon, so he's gonna be a little bit more tactful about how he engages in this main base. Yeah, it is a tank and 2 vultures. To try and be a little bit annoying here, it's gonna pull a lot of units back. Luckily, there's some Zealots popping out of the gateways at this timing, so we'll scoop those units back up and just kind of, you know, defend by attacking and keeping YSC thinking about that drop coming in again, maybe hesitating to pull the trigger on an attack just for now. And that'll give a little bit of breathing room for Royal to get set up with this 4th base. Another dropship at the 5th base here, but luckily there's a cannon just warping in the nick of time, and the probes can help out.
Wow, this is some pretty good play from Royal. I mean, keeping it active. looking around for opportunities to deal a little damage. Looks like he's going for the natural at the same time, potentially maybe assaulting that third base over on high ground. Just gets a couple kills. Gonna avoid this Dragoon, the cannon as well. Maybe come over here. This is some nice fancy maneuvers from Royal to try and buy some time, right? Like, this is buying him a lot of time while YSC is busy dealing with this and worrying about this. He's kind of getting his fourth base set up. He's been allowed to just take that kind of for free. There's been no sort of attack over there to try and slow that down, and so Royal gets that up kind of for free, sets up all these buildings with no harassment and all, and YSC just took a big mine connection in the middle of the map, so this is pretty fantastic for a Terran.
Yeah, this is about as good as Royal could have hoped for. I mean, YSC is going to still try and dip his toes into this, but that's a lot of tanks. Does get a pretty good storm on the mineral line, but it takes a long time for those SCVs to actually start falling, so he only killed like one there. And is going to be able to defend against this in a pretty fantastic way. YSC is going to try and maybe lay siege to the expansion a little bit just to see if he can deny some mining time, but Royal should be able to clean this up pretty nicely from here on out.
Ooh, sending the SCVs back kind of early. That's so many SCVs coming to mine here, but no storm for that. Means that those SCVs are going to live for now. Another High Templar making its way in from the rally is just going to lose its life, and that's quite a painful loss there for YSC, who's still holding the high ground. You know, he can still continue to storm from this high ground. It's up to Royal to deal with that. Look, no defenses at that fourth base from Royal. He's really gotten away with a lot taking that fourth base.
Yeah, I think he did so much damage and distraction with these dropships that YSC just wasn't even able to figure that out. And unfortunately now he's still taking some losses to these units. He's even going to kill probes over the wall here from the main base and be a little bit annoying if he can. Lots of Dragoons popping out, it seems, so that actually won't occur. But it's kind of crazy, and I think there's even an opportunity here for Royal to win this game now. I don't feel like there's been enough damage from YSC that Royal's in much trouble. He's got 2-1 timing, and yeah, he's gonna gradually work his way towards a max army from a pretty good storm on those SCVs, but not good enough. And Royal's going to start cleaning up the remainder of those forces, at least until some reinforcements can get down here. But once he's got this pizza slice under control, Royal's not scared at all. I guess his fifth base will be delayed ever so slightly by those Dragoons down there at the 6 o'clock. But this is looking better and better for Royal.
Yeah, he's just why is he just sticking with the double shuttle production, and that kind of that style relies on keeping the game very scrappy and getting a lot of bases out. Like, he needs to be taking this other main base as soon as possible so that he can keep that high production, so he can keep very high income to just keep slamming out Protoss units and ramming into this army again and again, keep that tank count low, because if Royal ever gets maxed out with 3-3, like, this is going to be very difficult to stop. You're going to need the most epic storms possible to be able to break that. And here comes that big army. He wants to trade right here, right now. Can he get on top of everything with this big force of Zealots, Dragoons, and High Templar? Not a lot of Vultures here left over. The Zealots are getting on top of the tanks at the bottom. I haven't seen a single storm yet. It looks like the target fire very good. All of the High Templar died before even getting a single storm shown.
Yeah, there wasn't that many High Templars to begin with, and what little there was got targeted down very quickly. Pretty good play from YSC to drive a wedge and clear out the majority of those tanks, but it's not good enough. He's going to allow Royal control of the 6 o'clock base gradually, and that's all Royal cares about. As long as he can have some kind of control over this region so he can float that CC over, he's going to be happy. Right now he's kind of running on the bare minimum. He's got that mineral only in the natural third gas location, so that's 2 bases worth of mining, which is, you know, enough for Terran to still be in the game. But if he gets this 6 o'clock base online as well, he's going to be thriving rather than surviving. And I think that this is going to be a problem for YSC. As you pointed out, he hadn't set up that rally point at the 3 o'clock yet. And the clock will now be ticking for Royal to get maxed out and push across and start wiping out YSC, I think YSC is in a little bit of trouble unless he gets some great engagements.
He needs to get some fantastic engagements, get some really good storms. We didn't even see many shuttles in that last fight, dropping High Templars and trying to get some storms off. So he's brought a few more along for this next battle, but the army's looking much smaller. Looks like it's all rallying out of the main base right now. Gonna come down here. Royal's still being annoying with these dropships, man. He's been really aggressive with that so far. Here comes the drops coming in, dropping some zealots on top of everything. Gonna be dropping into the main now. This feels impromptu. I don't think this was the plan, but he's just gonna try and get what he can out of this. And a High Templar ends up biting the dust to that storm. He gets one storm off. And yeah, this is not a very good use of these shuttles, man. He really didn't get much out of this, and now the next attack is not going to have shuttles again.
Yeah, I mean, I think he planned on doing some kind of storm drop, but he was kind of freestyling the execution of that, and 2 mines killed 2 High Templars, so suboptimal to say the least. It's almost like Royal knows what YSC's style is, and he's got some good preparation in dealing with that. A lot of these mines in the main base were really well calculated. And yeah, we're at this point where we're hitting that 170 supply threshold, which is a good trigger time for Terran to start thinking about coming out. He's got that +3 weapons now on these mech units. YSC will have to find perfect engagements to trade well from this point onwards. If Royal starts bottlenecking him and forcing frontal engagements, it's almost guaranteed to be Terran-sided unless you have the most masterful storms and zealot bombs possible if the tanks are that clumped up. But as long as Royal executes well, it's going to be so hard for YSC to overcome this obstacle now.
It'll be a slow choking out game if Royal doesn't want to attack head on. He can just choose to try to take out the center right, and this High Templar storm comes down. That's a pretty good storm on the gas, killing a lot of these SCVs here. We'll lose all of his shuttles once again. And there's the problem of all these vultures coming down over here to the center right. I mean, they can just light up these cannons so quickly. 4 cannons even just not going to be able to hold this off. The rest of the army will come through and get rid of these vultures, but still some more damage over here and some more slowdown to this extra rally point for YSC. Here comes another drop. All right, he's going to try and get a little bit more scrappy here by killing all these SCVs. Oh my goodness, that was so much SCV damage. All right, YSC might be back in it now.
Yeah, he just killed so many vultures as well. So his fighting potential is through the roof. Royal will be trying to lick his wounds for at least a few macro cycles to make sure he doesn't just get bowled over by a lot of zealots on the ground. If anything, YSC should be aggressive right now and try and find ways of challenging Royal, just because he knows there's not going to be that many vultures to screen. But Royal is actually trying to set up a forward position at the natural pizza slice on the right-hand side of the map. There's a counterattack from YSC making its way to that 6 o'clock. The CC is already burning a little bit. You might be able to get a tactical snipe on that. Royal is very fluid with his army, but it's actually kind of a lot of chaos right now, because even a counterattack at this 9 o'clock base, which is undefended, he's going to have to evacuate that and rely on some rallied units to try and help re-secure that location later. For the time being, though, Royal is kind of spread very thinly, and yeah, maybe this will be a ladder for YSC to climb, made out of chaos. But so far, so good from Royal. He's already managed to find a really strong contain on that right-hand side, and YSC is confined to the main base with those units. So this still seems very successful from Royal. He's lost mining at that 9 o'clock, but he's still got 6 o'clock, and having this contain set up like this looks like a problem for YSC now.
Well, let's see if YSC can fight this army coming up high ground and actually do a decent job of it. Very good D-Matrix. on that high ground tank, negating the storm there. Just trying to slow this down for now. YSC can just sit back and wait for Royal to try to come down this ramp while doing some other moves on the map. YSC taking out that center left was very big. The mineral only does not last that long, guys. It's gonna run out of money here soon. Oh, diving on top of the High Templar there at the bottom of the ramp. He gets rid of all the High Templar, so there's no more storms, which makes it that much easier to get down into this low ground base and start to break this position. He may actually get down here and start to kill these gateways, and that's something YSC cannot allow.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting architectures about this map is you can kind of lay siege to the buildings in the main from the high ground. And he's done a great job of storm dodging even when there has been storms available to YSC. I kind of feel like YSC has to go. YSC has to engage this soon, or he's going to lose this base at the 3 o'clock. This is not a position he wants to be in at all. I guess he could go for a counterattack. If he kills 6 o'clock, it's not too bad. But there's still a lot of defenders down here, a lot of mines and a few tanks, so this won't be something he can secure for free. Looks like he's going to have a pretty successful opportunity to come down here and disrupt this back line of Royal, but there is a lot of tanks from that rally point coming to help out. Some pretty good storms blanketing on top of those tanks, and Royal is not budging from his contain at 3 o'clock. He wants to maintain the position and just defend with his rally units, which is actually the right call. This is something you would see Flash do a lot back in the day. You don't want to give up positions unless you really have to. That's a pretty nasty storm drop, though, at 6 o'clock. I think this is a very heavily favorited game for Royal, but YSC has got a few potentials of coming back in this game. I just think they're slipping through his fingers too fast.
Yeah, the inability to confront the army down here at the center right, and getting some of these fruitless counterattacks going towards that 6 o'clock. The evidence has started to pile up here against YSC. He's having a hard time making his case as he tries to take top left, get a little bit of mining going so that he has something to keep the ball rolling here, something to keep this economy going. Another base has just come online for Royal down at the bottom right. How many SCVs does he have left to actually mine from that? I'm sure it's something less than 50, maybe? Like, this is really light, but it's something.
Maybe 40, yeah.
He's at least got enough mineral patches to work with that he's getting some good efficiency.
Yeah, but that also means his army's more scary, right? Oh, that's a pretty good mine connection, but... yeah, I mean, like, because he's got so little SCVs, it means he's got like 100 army supply, whereas YSC has a lot more probes than army. So he's going to have to use guerrilla warfare tactics almost exclusively from this point onwards. And I'm not sure that's going to be good enough. I mean, he's kind of hoping Royal makes a mistake and is like overly aggressive and has lots of tanks clumped up or something to find those good trades. But I don't think it's going to happen, man. I think YSC is going to get bled out of this game slowly but surely, unless there is some kind of major blunder from Royal.
Yeah, it would have to be something kind of ridiculous, walking, you know, a big group of tanks directly into a storm, or eating an insane mine attack or mine connection. But with the tanks spread out this well and this many mines in front of everything, I don't think that's going to happen. He is going to be taking some economic damage here over at the bottom center. Some kills go out. Another storm perhaps over at this base. Yeah, he does have one more. Can throw that down, gets 3 more kills. Doesn't have enough for a second follow-up storm to finish those off. Just not quite, barely enough damage here for YSC.
Yeah, and he's going to finally lose this base at the 3 o'clock completely now. He held it off for a long time, but Royal has done one thing better than most Terrans, and that's with his tank splitting. There's a lot of Terrans that throw games by just having all their tanks bunched up and being overeager, but Royal's actually been very tentative about how he's positioned those tanks and when he's decided to pull the trigger on going for the execution like we see here. So I'm really impressed with that facet of his play. There is a big, massive counterattack from YSC at the rally point of the Terran, but a lot of those Zealots getting taken out by mines. So even though there's not a lot of units defending here from Royal, the main threat of the army has kind of been diminished. There's not a lot of Zealots remaining, so he should be able to rotate over with the majority of his forces now to clean this up. It's a valiant effort from YSC, but he's just been outmaneuvered by Royal in this game, it seems.
Yeah, I'd say this is a pretty decent comeback from Royal from that early game defense, that difficult early game with the Dragoon Zealot probe combo getting so much damage, and that 6 factory getting shut down to coming back and managing to macro up into 3-3, or at least 3 attack. I guess he's got 2 armor here, and just kind of lock YSC off of that base over in the center right. This is a pretty decent comeback from Royal, and he's just executing this army. Finishing it off will end this game. GG is called. YSC taps out. So Royal with 2 kills now, going up against Effort, who's spawned in the top right. Roll down here in the bottom right. We're on Metropolis. I've really been enjoying this map show. This has been a great map, and
yeah,
this is a great matchup. Effort, one of my favorite players all time.
Yeah, no, same here. The Alien Zerg himself. One of the most impressive records from Zerg players post-Savior era. Basically 60+% win rate across the board in all 3 matchups. It's almost impossible for a Zerg to be that good. Even Solkey, during his reign of dominance with that 4-time champion record, he didn't barely have above 50% in Zerg versus Zerg. So it is really impressive to have a record like that. And he's probably, I would say, slightly better in ZVP than ZVT, but he's still a force to be reckoned with and has one of the best macro engines out of any Zerg we've got.
It feels like Royal has been slipping, but more so in the TVP matchup. In this matchup, he really does feel dominant. He still feels like his old self, able to take on pretty much any strong Zerg player out there, just about. Like, definitely I don't rate him against Soma, but still an incredible strong player. He really is being held back right now by that TVP matchup. We did see some faltering from him, although he did end up winning that game and making a pretty decent comeback. I don't think that Best would have allowed that. Like, there were moments there where, you know, a few extra rallies, maybe a little bit more optimization, and he would have gotten completely rolled, and that's something that Best, I mean, he just never misses on that type of thing.
Yeah, one of Best's greatest strengths is that macro affinity. He just has more stuff than you can handle. Oh, he loses the drone! Bit of a blunder there from Effort. He's trying to punish the 14cc by any means necessary, but in the process has actually set himself slightly more behind than he should be. He's already going to be behind against the 14cc, but being a drone down on top of it doesn't feel good. The only thing going for him is that Royal has to block with 2 SCVs. That's a little bit of lost mining time, just in case there was some major link stab here, but nothing's going to occur in that way, and Royal's going to be enjoying a very comfortable lead going forward with a very fast factory. This is going to be a teched out play, probably a 1-1-1 build of some sorts, maybe a fast Valkyrie play.
Could be mech as well. Let's see. CC first into mech. That was really popularized by Flash when he first came back from the military and from all the scandalous coin scandal stuff. I mean, he showed how powerful it could potentially be, even showing CC first into mech with double armory. I remember that specifically being insanely strong and beating players like Solkey in his prime with that exact build. It looks like it will be that 1-1-1. Looks like it will be Valkyrie as well. With the Academy coming up here, no doubt Marines and Valkyries are on the way, and he's just kind of looking to blind counter Effort, going for some mutas here.
We've seen a few players attempt Valkyrie into mech. We saw Sark do that against players like Solkey. It's just so hard to execute at the highest of levels. I think it is going to be just a more traditional Bio-Valk play, which is a little bit semi-all-in. You kind of have to do something with those Bio and Valkyrie units to make it worthwhile. If the Zerg player bats it down, snipes a Valkyrie with a pair of Scourge, suddenly you're in a lot of trouble as Terran, having delayed your vessel count that long. But we'll see. Maybe this is just the ticket to take away any map control away from effort, deny the air superiority of those Mutalisks and bowl him over. That can happen. We'll see if he also wants to try and make siege tanks, because that's another thing you can do. Use the Valkyries as point defense with siege tanks to break the sunken line way ahead of schedule before lurkers and defilers have been set up accordingly. So yeah, this could still be a really good effort from Royal to kill effort. But with the 2.5 hatchery style from the Zerg player, should be able to field at least enough units to not be crushed completely.
Doesn't even have a scan, man. He doesn't even have a scan. Imagine if this was lurkers coming at him right now. It's just
Yeah.
kind of blows me away that Terran players can get away with this. They just go so greedy and completely blind. Just make Valkyries, and a lot of the time it's fine. Most of the time it's fine.
Yeah, lurkers hard counter this, right? Especially with the Valkyries. So it would be a nice switch up from effort. But it's also not really in effort's wheelhouse. He's not that kind of cross-teching guy. Like someone like Soma or Shine would pull out that kind of shenanigan. I think Royal knows that that's not really in effort's wheelhouse, so he can be a little bit greedier than usual.
Yeah, he's probably played against him a lot and just seen that, you know, lurker's just not the way that effort likes to play.
Yeah.
You can still do well against this, even with the Mutalisks. It's just, it's tough, guys. It's so tough. And he didn't even have Scourge with the initial mutas that came across the map, so he doesn't have any opportunity to snipe. And, oh, 2 big volleys here onto these mutas, hitting every single one and softening them up like crazy. Now the Scourge are out, but there's going to be like 3-4 Valkyries here soon, and this is going to be a really scary push to deal with.
There's a lot of Scourge as well for effort, so he is going to be making a gambit at this. He's got enough to snipe 3 of those Valkyries with those Scourge potentially. Let's see what ends up transpiring. We also saw Royal warm up with a pretty well executed slide micro from those Valkyries. It's such an important micro to actually be able to hit. It's very inconsistent at the pro level. It's one thing executing it in practice, it's another thing doing it in an actual game in a tournament setting. Big counter attack from effort. There is a bunker here to make this not as successful, and there's not a lot of Sunkens back at home. Hang on a second, is effort in trouble because he's going to have to turn around to defend against this, and only one Sunken is finished up while these Marines start to go to town on that line. The Lings get cleaned up very quickly as well, and he doesn't catch the Valkyries in transition. Importantly, he's going to dive on those now and split those Scourge. Does find some pretty good connections, but it's not good enough. Royal is gonna execute effort in pretty spectacular fashion. Zerg and Protoss are in a lot of trouble, and that 79% to Protoss seeming even more flimsy right now, because so far Terran has been on a reign of dominance.
So Royal absolutely smashing through the lineup here, already dispatched Shine, Effort, and YSC, but here we are now on Litmus with a real challenge, a real test for Royal Best over here in the top right. And he's not going to go as easy as YSC, that's for sure. He's not going to go down as easy as YSC. He's really going to take it to Royal, and he might just start this comeback for the Protoss lineup. He may have to do a lot of carrying. He will have to do a lot of carrying if he wants to win for Protoss this week.
Well, if anyone can do it, it's Best. He has, unironically, the greatest Protoss versus Terran out of probably every player on the planet. It's just insane how strong of a macro Protoss he is. But this is, the true litmus test for Royal now. Going up against someone of Best caliber, it's going to be a massive slog for Best to chew through all 4 of these players, but I certainly think he's able to. Effort's been a little bit slumpy, so I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. And with that Protoss versus Terran speciality, I do feel like Best could turn this around. It'll be kind of insane. It's kind of calling it early. But if anyone can do it, I'd put my money on Best.
Best is, yeah, he's been kind of teed up, right? For a reverse all kill. Just take down the whole Terran lineup. He only has to take down Action after fighting off Royal. So let's see if he can make that happen. The gateway here on the high ground. And getting to the Cyber Core here with his gas. Meanwhile, Royal building into his own base, not stretching out and trying to grab like a super early CC or anything, but he will be throwing down a pretty quick bunker. Wants to get this Marine installed immediately and not repeat the mistakes that he had versus YSC earlier.
Yeah, I mean, this is a safe way of playing, but you don't want to make the bunker like this. This doesn't feel good as Terran. Ideally, you want to get away with just defending with the first 3 Marines and Vulture, and then getting the CC down at crisp timing. Even with the bunker, he's having to block with 2 SCVs and fails to stop the Zealot getting into the main base. So Royal's already really behind, even if the Zealot doesn't kill anything. Like, just by existing, the Zealot is already doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, it looks like Royal wanted to just mine 1 on gas and make the CC way faster. He wanted to cut the earlier factory, get the CC, and then grab that factory afterwards, but he's already been kind of messed with here, and the second Zealot comes in, he's going to try to get up this ramp again. 4 Marines here should be able to shut this down. There's no way this gets some kills. Oh my gosh, it gets a kill already. Might be able to get this SCV as well. Let's see the movement there. Okay, it's a flash SCV, not an Artosis SCV, so it moves to the right side and out of danger, and Best will just back away.
It's a really good tactic. I would do that if I was doing something like 12 pull against Terran. You run past the bunker up to the ramp and then run back down the ramp because you know they've just unloaded their bunker to come and help out. And it's a great little tactic to utilize, and even keeps the Zealot alive. And yeah, you're right about the build order from Royal. It's kind of like a Mong-esque style. He does that a lot, where he'll get the gas but want to take the CC before the factory and just have a more crisply timed factory after the fact, rather than waiting forever for that tank to pop out. And honestly, Best has done a good enough job of throwing a spanner in the works there and stopping that from being too optimized. So yeah, already looking okay for Best going forward.
Best's gonna have his own Nexus up here shortly. It's about the same time as the CC finishing in the Terran's Naturals, so Royal's still in a good economic position on paper. We'll see how this goes for him, though. I mean, if I expect Royal to win, I feel like he needs an advantage, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
If he's just dead even with Best, I almost want to say Best has the lead, just because.
Yeah.
Then again, Best always plays better from behind, right? So, you know,
true.
Maybe there's
like PvC, I would say he does. In PvT, right. I think he's good at snowballing more in PvT, so I don't think it matters. Yeah, I think, was that a starport? Yes, it is. He's going to be going for a bit of drop action here, it seems. And if Best isn't prepared for that, it certainly could work. It's also going to be at an off timing. Usually you're expecting that dropship to come in at around about 6 minutes 20, 6 minutes 30, around about there. Sometimes it can be a little bit quicker, but it's very rare. So if he doesn't spot anything coming in at that timing, he'll then like maybe evacuate his Dragoons from the main right as the dropship's about to actually hit, because that dropship's going to hit closer to 7 minutes than like 6:30. So this might throw Best off.
We'll see if he susses this out, because it depends on where the Vultures are at, kind of what they're doing. It's a nice hidden spot here at the back. It's a shame that Best didn't send a probe over there. You could just see that right over the wall, but he's not really going to know about this. And he's looking to take a third base, so he's really going to extend himself out quite a bit, spread himself thin, and there's going to be some openings potentially for Royal here coming forward.
Well, the poking out with these 3 tanks is also really smart from Royal, because that's going to keep these units of Best at the front in positions to punish this. But the Observer, seeing so little units, he might get suspicious. Like, if Best is really dialed in, he might be thinking, hang on a minute, there's a few, like 100 minerals or so missing from this. What's going on? He might be able to figure that out, but he's already caught one of the Zealots and denied them from coming out, so it looks like he's kind of indirectly slowing down this dropship play anyway. And look how late this is. Like, as I said, it's going to be like closer to 7 minutes than 6 minutes 30 before that dropship's in play, and it's just now popping out. He didn't even make it right away, so it's going to be super late. It could still really throw off Best though. The fact that it's going to be at such a weird timing, Best will probably have nothing to defend against that.
Yeah, he seems like he doesn't have anything. He's sending everything across the map, and he's feeling pretty safe right now due to the fact he's pushed all the vultures back. Oh my gosh, he's gonna dive a tank. He's gonna get a tank here as well. Killing off all these mines, he can keep this going. There's just no siege mode here, and these Dragoons can keep being aggressive, but you know what? He's completely open back at home. Wide open for a huge drop to deal a lot of damage. We're all gonna run right up this ramp, throw a bunch of mines on top of the ramp right next to the gateways, and begin the pressure here, begin the carnage. Oh, okay, I thought that actually blocked out. Oh my gosh, that would have been sick.
As well for a second. Yeah, he had set up a preemptive Sim City to maybe wall off something like this from happening, but it's not good enough, unfortunately. Oh, there was a massive mine connection on the probes. I think Royal can do this now. That is critical damage done to Best. I mean, Best isn't dead, but that's the kind of advantage you need to be able to deal with someone like Best. Best mid game is going to be so much more brittle than usual, and the third base is about to be punished by Royal as well.
Wait, does it have anything in it? Okay, it's gonna pick up.
It's going to scoop it.
Coming into the third, looking for some more damage. I can't imagine him getting more damage than he did with that one mine, but that was a little bit lucky there, Roy. You gotta say that those Dragoons popping out of the gateways at that precise moment. It's just the setup was there. Royal set it all up perfectly. Came in at that wonky off timing. Even though Best was pressuring him a lot, he still managed to get over there and get those mines on top of the gateways and force the probe pull. The cascading series of events has now put Best in a pretty tough situation. Oh, looks like we're getting some lag here.
That's uncharacteristic.
Yeah, not sure what's going on with the game right now. Of course, KCM and them are watching this live, and so there's definitely something happening. Just good old BattleNet for you guys.
Yeah, I doubt it's the Korean internet issue. That's definitely more likely to be a BattleNet issue. I hope it doesn't remain like this, because this is going to be like a PowerPoint presentation of a game at this rate. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is about as good as Royal could have hoped for. Like, pretty much every Terran on the planet would seize the opportunity to play from this game state against Best. You can't usually do much better than this. So I give every hope to Royal going forward. He's actually ahead in supply right now, which is insanity. But Best is one of those guys where even with an advantage, it doesn't feel super easy. We've got a pause coming out from Royal, maybe to try and see if we can resolve this temporarily. We'll go for a very quick break and then come back with the action, hopefully.
So it looks like there was a problem with the observer in the game. Sometimes this kind of wacky stuff can happen. We're going to be watching from a first-person perspective, going back and forth between the players from here on out. It's actually already kind of advanced. A lot has happened, it seems, but Royal trying to press the issue here across the map with all of his factories coming online. Best is definitely on the ropes. He just doesn't have the income with all of those probes dying earlier, and he's just being pressed back into a really tough position. Look at this, setting up turrets, setting up these tanks, spreading out beautifully as everything comes forward. Royal's looking pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, no, he's looking pretty fantastic, it has to be said. And you can see just how good his tank control is. Like, he's not the best Terran versus Protoss user, but he has some better skill set that some of these Terrans don't have. I feel like he's a lot more careful about his tanks as a general rule. That might help out a lot against Best, who's adept in punishing any kind of mistakes in tank formations and what have you. You can see now a really strong contain being set up by Royal here, while also pressuring that third base. But there's a counter attack coming from Best to interrupt against the rallied units, the reinforcements of Royal here. He's going to force a massive turnaround from the front line. All those vultures coming back, and there was a bit of a mistake from that tank. It's actually in range of that cannon, so if it does miss a lot of its shots, it actually will die, and I think it did die, unfortunately. That could have been a great play for him to actually kill that base, but he missed that opportunity now, and the counter-attacking of Best is distracting Royal for a few beats here. But I don't think it'll be super successful. We'll have to wait and see, though, because he actually might get on top of some of these tanks again. Best is being relentless right now, going over to his first-person view. You can see that there's a lot of opportunities for Best to slow down this advance. He has still got control over all of these bases while he's macroing out on all cylinders, but this should still be a very favorited game for Royal. He's actually going to try and break the tank line before the vultures can get back up here, but it's not quick enough. Royal being more than fluid enough with his unit control to maintain this position.
Looks like he's going to send some more units around the outside, bolster the counter-attack force that's been heading over towards Royal's natural, but it's still a very tough situation here. He's just trying to sneak out as many units as he can. He's still not been broken on that third, though, right? The third is still up. He's going to continue to build up here, and we've seen a lot of games where Best just keeps building up, kind of poking away at the army, and the Terran's not really getting anything done. And then suddenly the Protoss army is too big, and it busts through whatever containment they have set up. And it's getting close to that point now, I think. He's going to go ahead and dive on this. Nice pulling back here with the vultures, making sure they don't take too much damage from the mines, and the Zealots just disappear, man. There's still way too many vultures here with a long line of tanks, and so the contain will hold for now.
Roy was playing so good, man. He did so many great scans as well to identify the positioning and the amount of units at the flanks of Best setup as well, so that he had a pretty optimal tank spread as well as mine placement. He will eventually start to put a clock on that third base now by sending over a couple of tanks to challenge that while taking a third base, mind you. So everything is going in the way of Royal, and I think actually that tank traded with the cannon earlier, so the cannon died and the tank died to the projectile of that photon cannon shot. But this is looking so good for Royal. Like, as long as he doesn't blunder this position, this looks like a game-winning opportunity for him. He's even going to deny a probe sneaking out of the backside to prevent any kind of cheeky fourth base being established by Best. Best has to break this position by any means necessary, and the probes now going to be harassed a little bit at this mineral blocks location at the back end. Best is desperate to come out onto the map on a flank, and he's being denied that. He can't even get this patch mined out so that he can get units out there. So this is looking better and better for Royal.
Yeah, this base has gone down. The third is toast. Third is up now for Royal. This game is all but in the bag. And Royal, I mean, who had on their bingo card Royal taking out the whole Protoss lineup? Like that, or everybody except for Snow, I suppose. Like, he didn't take out Snow, right? Shine did him that favor. Looks like the mineral patch has been mined out, so he can go through here now. However, tanks have arrived. If that tank had arrived just a little bit earlier, he actually would have denied that forever. That mineral would have never been mined out, but he has managed to mine that now. Royal is leaving a pretty big portion of his army back at home near the natural to make sure that no counterattack comes in and messes up his day. So he's got his army kind of split right now. I think if Best has enough, has all of his forces here and ready, he should probably pull the trigger here pretty soon. This is hard. He's pulled back his counterattack force and is trying to get rid of this tank so he can get through here into a flanking position. And indeed, he will get everything through here. There's an opening here. He's just going to go forward. Royal pressing the issue, pulling everything together. He has not pulled his force defending the natural just yet in order to bolster this, but he's moving into a position where I don't even know if Best can fight this. Like, he is going to be absolutely wrecked here coming down this ramp, and trying to flank it is impossible. GG is called. Really smart plays from Royal this game and really throughout this series. This has been fantastic from him. We say it time and time and again, anything can happen in KCM, boys. And, well, the unthinkable has just occurred. Royal knocked out the last Protoss player in a lineup that was 9% likely for them to win. Crazy.
I think that percentage is very inflated, but I still think it was a scary lineup with Snow and Best together. They just got dealt with so easily by Shine and Royal, respectively. But I mean, you got to take your hat off to Royal. He is playing out of his mind today. This is some of the Royal of old. He's been in a bit of a slump this last year or so, really underperforming, especially against Protoss. And as we could see from the FP VOD, man, he is dialed in. I'm super impressed with Royal. I want to see more great things from him in the future as well. He was an ASL champion once upon a time. He just never really had much of a showing after that. And is he going to 14 CC against Action? He's cross map as well. He might get away with it.
He pulled it off versus Effort, so he's maybe going to try it again here. Action going for a hatchery. And yes, indeed, it is going to be a CC at first. I mean, there's nothing else you're doing right now besides making that CC. 14 CC coming out, and will he just go straight up into Valkyrie and blind Valkyrie? I was kind of shaking my head when I saw it versus Effort, because it is such a strong build if you assume that your opponent will never go Lurker.
Right. I remember playing games against Warfix, and he got to a point where he was just blind Valkyrie building me over and over again, and his excuse was, well, you always go Mutalisks. And so I eventually started cheesing him a little bit with some Lurker plays and got some wins. And I think you kind of need to do that as a, you can't just play the same way every single time. They'll just start metagaming you and blind countering what you want to end up achieving. So I feel like Zergs need to mix it up ever so slightly. It's just that, as a rule of thumb, Lurker openings are not that good at the pro level.
No, they really aren't that good at the pro level. The reason being the Marine control is just that good at the pro level, right?
Yeah,
Marines are just so strong when controlled correctly. The ability to stim and run away after, target firing one of the Lurkers if they're trying to run forward. If they have to be aggressive, and you have to be aggressive with the Lurkers if you want to open with Lurkers and try to get a bust going. It just allows that opportunity for the Marines to gun one down and run away before any damage can be done. It's just so hard to deal with. Most Zerg players just don't even want to try it. They don't even want to go for it. But yeah, you kind of have to mix things up and not allow these Terran players to just completely optimize against you, completely get away with these blind Valkyrie plays. And it's kind of looking like it might go that way again here, Shun. He's got the engineering bay.
Yeah, I mean, with the timing of the gas, it definitely does look like some kind of variation of Valkyrie build. We'll see here in just a second if he throws down that factory. It looks like he's lining up to do that. We'll see. Oh, it's actually an academy, so hang on a minute. Maybe he's not doing Valkyrie. The drone did confirm the early gas, so maybe he's adjusting the style based on the fact that Action scouted it. Maybe he doesn't want to do it now and try and throw off Action by anticipating some kind of Valkyrie build, but it's actually going to be more of a traditional, just very fast +1 and early range build from Royal here. And yeah, I mean, that's fine as well. It's still a very strong way of playing Terran. But it did seem like he wanted to go for Valkyries. Now we got a lot of Lings being made by Action. And he's doing a good job of hiding those Zerglings from the SCV Scout, meanwhile.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with 4 Rex plus 1 going for that as well. I think that's what Royal is teeing up for 4X plus 1. But it is weak to a Ling Bust. Ling Bust is really good against this because you have hardly any Marines in the wall at this time. If he just runs up with a crazy amount of Lings and just starts killing the Marines, you can kind of just kill him. And it's very hard to stop. You just don't have enough. You got to pull the SCVs. It's got to be perfect. And yeah, this is 4 Rex plus 1. Let's see if this works, because this works really well on the ladder, guys. If you guys are struggling against 4 Rex plus 1, a lot of Terrans on the ladder will just do this build every game because it is very good. You can bust them. You can bust them. And right above, you guys might be wondering, why is there no wall in with the supply depot above the barracks here? That's actually been patched so that you can't build a supply depot up there. There's like a little patch of unbuildable terrain. You can't build the supply depot there, so it's just going to kill that Marine on the left-hand side. As soon as that goes down, can he slip in? Can he slip in the medic? The medic doing very well, blocking this out. He's getting the Marines on the right-hand side, but the medic's popped out just in time. One medic goes down on the left-hand side. The Lings get in. They surround. The bunker is done, though. Another medic pops out. The Lings are all going to die. This is a perfect hold from Royal.
Wow. I mean, at first that looked bad because the medic wasn't healing the Marine, but it didn't matter. The medic managed to block that gap and sacrificed its life long enough to trade well. Kind of insane how well Royal was able to hold there. It is so difficult to come in with Lings and manually target down those Marines to create the gaps, but on the ladder, the Terran players won't be as good as Royal as well, so you'll have an easier time getting in there and finding damage. But now things are looking pretty rough for Action. He needs to do so much with so little. He's gonna eventually have 7 mutas to start challenging these SCVs and killing a few of them, but he needs to kill a lot more than usual because he's cut drones to do this. He's got hardly anything mining back at home. He's not even mining his second gas at the moment. 5 turrets in the natural from Royal to perfectly thwart this from Action. He kind of needs to kill 6 SCVs to be able to play a normal game from now. And usually you're killing 6 SCVs to be comfortable and happy, but now he needs to kill 6 SCVs just to not lose.
Yeah, you almost want to tap out when that doesn't work. It's so bad. That is so bad. I think it was a little bit late from Action, honestly. You're supposed to be breaking through that wall before the medics are out, and the medics popped like right as I was coming in.
I think he was trying to bait Royal to come out and challenge the 4 Lings that were there at like a normal stim timing, assuming that Royal maybe was going for 2 racks stim, but yeah, he just didn't budge. I mean, Royal was smart enough to know that that's a way of losing the game, to poke out a little bit prematurely.
Yeah, he even had the SCV in the wall too. Like he knew that this was a possibility. He played it very well. You do need to go before the medic pops out if you're going to be busting a 4 racks plus 1. Unfortunate for Action, man. He's going to lose an Overlord too. He may even lose a second Overlord. Yeah, he loses 2 Overlords. He built a hatchery at least after that Ling bust. He was like, okay, I do need to recover here, so having that extra hatchery finish up would be helping me to make that happen. Oh my god, a 3rd Overlord.
Jeez, he doesn't even get punished. He doesn't even get compensation. He doesn't kill anything. But this is crazy how far behind Action is. If he wins this game, it'll almost be a Christmas miracle at this point. It's kind of insane. He'll eventually clear up this Bible for free. There's just not enough Marines to ward off these Mutalisks, but just them existing out here still is already crazy good value for Royal. He's going to have a much bigger bio-blob built up back at home once they do finally die. And if he trades out a muta or 2 with them, that would be even more great for him. Just how insane is Royal playing today? Like, you have to take your hat off to him, man.
Absolutely. He's probably going to get this all-kill prize, 1,500,000 won, in addition to the regular prize money from winning or from placing first in the KCM. It's fantastic. It's definitely deserved here, and all that's required is one strong push and no mistakes being made against Action for the remainder of this game. Like, Action has to make something happen, and as long as there's no mistakes, Royal should be able to deal with all of this. With all that Action can pull out against him. He's not even got a third base. He's just got lurkers here. And he's going to try to get another base online, try to run some lurkers down the bottom left, but Royal's going to have so much time and momentum to try and break that bottom left with drops or radiates. Like, think about how long it's going to take to get that Nidus down there in bottom left. Like, you're definitely going to be able to get a few irradiates over to that location in time to try and break that.
I mean, Action does have quite literally some of the best Defiler control out of all of the Zerg players, but he's so far behind the curve of the game that it might not matter at this point, and he's kind of reliant on a hold position lurker doing a lot of heavy lifting. If that does occur and he kills a lot of that bio for free, then maybe there's a way of turning this around, but it's a big ask. And just so you guys know, as well as that big all-kill prize, there's even that Dr. Yoon clinic voucher as well to go and get a bit of pampering and look even more of a handsome nerd if he does get that all-kill prize.
Yeah, we're lucky to have some good sponsors here at the KCM. Not sponsoring us, of course, but sponsoring the KCM in general. Bringing through that all-kill prize, and Royal definitely going to be enjoying that treatment tonight, man. I think this game, like, barring some sort of insane comeback, and I mean, we can never rule it out, right? Crazier things have happened in the KCM, but this is looking really brutal. Ooh, what the heck was that?
Scourge in there. I thought he had Scourge in the muter group and he was going to bomb one of the vessels, but he just gave them a little bit of a kiss and ran away, you know, a bit of love instead of war. I like it.
Only in Broodwar, man. Like, what the heck was that? Both players had like a butt clench moment, I think, where they were both like, whoa.
Yeah, Royal was like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my vessels, because he thought there was Scourge, and Action was like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my Mutalisks, and yeah, both of them kind of flinching there.
How many lurkers in this stack? Two lurkers in the stack?
I think two. It's not good.
At least, no, three. Three, okay.
Okay, that's not bad.
He
should hold position and Mutalisk over the top of it, I think.
Yeah, why not, right? He at least baited one irradiate onto the Mutas, so there's only one irradiate here. Nidus is gonna finish, I guess. Oh, okay, this is the start of the Nidus. Oh no, this is the end of the Nidus, so he's done. He's good. He can live for now. Anyway, it's just, like I said before, Royal has so much momentum and so much time to try and break this. It's going to be really hard for Action. Like, he's got to play perfect. He's got to stop every drop. He's got to, you know, hit all of his upgrades and get the perfect number of drones out while making sure he has exactly enough defenders, or he's just going to fall apart, because Royal has all the chips right now. He's got all the cards.
Yeah. But if anyone can do it, I do think it's Action. This is the stage of the game that Action is, like I said before, unironically one of the best players in the world at handling this. Like, he's so good with his Defiler control, usually. So let's see if he can pull this game out of the bag. It certainly is possible now that he's got this Nidus connection. He will be bled dry a little bit by the superior vessel count that Royal is able to field, and he's going to double expand as well so that he can, you know, go into BCs or lots of, it is going to be BCs. Yeah, it makes more sense. You can go triple factory tank, but that's better against Hydra Defiler. It's actually better to go BCs against this style of Zerg. So I like that from Royal as well. And who knows, man? I mean, he might actually secure this fourth base and get a fourth gas on the way, and suddenly this game could turn around. Oh, he's losing his Mutalisks to the Irradiate. He needs to be careful. They are very softened up. He actually needs these Mutas for anti-drop defense right now.
Yeah, you can see he's got some Scourge down there at the bottom center. He's expecting something to come through. He's expecting some sort of drop, and he's really opening himself up to that, because taking this base immediately after getting this third online, it's kind of necessary because of how far behind he is. He just needs it so badly, but it's really opening him up. It's spreading himself so thin. It is incredibly tempting. for Royal right now to just send some drops in. I wonder if he even starts building them, or does he just go straight into BCs and keep the pressure on that way? That's a much more robust way of keeping the pressure up, because you can't just lose everything to Scourge.
Right.
If you have to make enough Scourge to kill the battle cruisers, like you're wasting a lot of gas anyway. So I mean, it's still kind of a win for Terran.
Yeah. The Zerg will be bled too thin in terms of gas and lava if you do have to deal with it. I think BCs make more sense in this situation. I feel like dropships have a lot of potential, but they're also the most risky. It looks like he is going to be going for dropships, but that could actually allow action back into this game. He hasn't got enough muters to deflect this, though. He's only got like 4 low HP muters in that base in the bottom left, so this drop still could be pretty... Oh my gosh, he's actually going to spot the drop ships with the Overlord. Has a pair of Scourge ready to react. That's insanity that he's actually going to catch one of these drop ships preemptively, and now he knows about the other one. This is opening up a pathway for action to slowly turn this game around, but Royal is still in advantage.
Absolutely, Royal has a huge advantage. However, oh gosh, factory switch. I mean, you don't usually see that and battle cruiser, but I mean, he's got such a big advantage. Maybe it's okay. It's just he is going out on a limb here by doing both of those techs simultaneously. I wonder if that's gonna kind of hurt him in the long run. He's moving forward with some lurkers, gonna give himself a little bit more space. Action is hasn't landed any plagues yet, but these units are very clumped up. That would be a heck of a juicy plague there if you managed to land it.
Oh yeah.
Where's that drop? Did that drop just fly away, or what did we...
I think it's just hanging out somewhere. I don't think he wants to commit with just one dropship. It just won't be successful. I think he's just, yeah, like unloaded it and not going to be... Just keeping it as a threat potential in the back of Action's mind. And he's not producing battle cruisers, by the way. So he isn't doing both tech. He was going to do battle cruisers, and now he's switching it up and is going into triple tank. And that might be the right play, because it does look like Action is going for a more Hydra-centric style. So maybe he scanned that base in the top left, saw all of those Hydras being pulled, and was like, do you know what? Battle cruisers isn't the answer, because if he's already going to have the Hydra tech already, you know, fully on its way, I might as well go straight into my triple tanks and deal with that Hydra force on the ground that way.
Yeah, it makes sense, actually. This is a pretty decent decision from Royal, considering that Hydra does seem to be the choice here from Action. Interesting game so far. Totally maxed out, though. Royal cannot make tanks right now. He's got to throw some units away somewhere before he can actually start making those. He's got like 2 tanks total, and he will have double upgrade as well with those 2 armories there at the 3rd base. Continuing with this pressure, he's killed so many lurkers with these irradiates continuously over and over and over again, irradiating there. Finally, the first plague comes out. Action's almost ready to start moving. It's going to have to be some insane defiler control from Action to make this work.
He's certainly capable of it, but will it be enough to stop Royal, who's in a pretty fantastic position himself? He's got that base coming up in the top right. He could also just start plopping down factories up there in the top right and doing a full mech transition. He's done a pretty good job of shutting down the lurkers that Action has been able to field, and he hasn't taken a plague on the vessels yet, critically. So until that transpires, Royal is still going to be sitting pretty in this game. He actually is building something in the top right. I wonder if those are factories, because a mech switch is viable in this particular game state.
No, I think a mech switch would be perfect right now. You don't necessarily have to go full mech right now, but just building tanks top right and setting them up on the high ground, it makes it so difficult for Hydra Defiler to break that base, and it just allows you to keep the pressure on other locations without having to rotate units up there to defend if a counterattack manages to break through. And so Royal here going to keep this pressure on down bottom left. It's so hard to break those 2 tanks. Action really needs a plague on that, but as long as Royal is on top of things... Oh, there's a huge plague! Coming a little bit too close, flying a bit too close to the sun there with the vessels. Yo, he's got restoration! Oh my gosh, restoration crazy right now. He comes through with the mutas looking for the free kills and gets nothing out of it. Beautiful play there from Royal. We talk about restoration all the time. We talk about how strong it can be, but it's so rare to see a pro player actually pull it out and make good use of it like we just saw.
Wow, super impressive, Royal, man. This is like some next level play. A lot of Terran players are too lazy to bother with something like that. This is so great for him. And there's no Defiler here at the full base, but he's not scanning to target that Lurker. So maybe, just maybe there's a way of holding on to this, but it doesn't seem so. It seems like he's rotating over a bunch of units there now. Action going to be feeling a little bit desperate to poke out and challenge this, but with Firebats on the ground as well. There's another monstrous plague on those vessels. He's going to restore a couple of them, but I don't think he can restore all of them this time around. He used up a lot of that energy already. Action has the opportunity to also start to think about breaking out soon. There's not a lot of meat on the bone to chew for anymore. And that force is not looking as strong as it once did. I think we'll start to see Action being a little bit more active on the other side of the map as well, starting to break out of these soft contains that Royal has set up there. And once he does come out onto the map from he's doing that now. Once he comes out onto the map from 2 locations, suddenly Royal's job is a lot more complicated because you're not just focusing on one single battlefront anymore.
Yeah, he's going to have to hold bottom left with Defiler and Lurker, but the Lurker actually dies before the Defiler can throw down the Darkstorm on that.
He's restoring tanks.
He's restoring tanks, oh my gosh. A lot of Terran players out there right now are just gushing at Royal, the way that he's playing this game. Looks like he might be able to get a plague down here. Darkstorm. Okay, Darkstorm comes down. Looks like some of these vessels will be targeted as well, but the tanks inch ever closer and start to close on this base in bottom left. The army that was supposed to bust out and cause a problem for Royal on the map has just been wiped off the face of the earth here. Top left is contained nearly once again. Action can just barely slip out through that third. Looks like he'll grab that now. Maybe try to flank this army down in bottom left. He's got to deal with that because the tanks that have stacked up at that location now are really hard to kill, hard to break, and they're going to keep putting on the pressure.
I'm just so blown away by how good Royal's playing in this game. He scanned the base in the natural third in the top left as it was being planted as well. So he's going to try and muster some forces to challenge that soon. This contain is already super strong. Doesn't really have to do any more heavy lifting in the bottom left. He's already doing an adequate job down there. The gases of Action starting to dry up in the main and natural at this point in the game as well. So he's not got a massive gas income. So he's going to have to flood a lot of Hydra Ling to try and do what he needs to actually break out and maintain control over this newly established 5th base. Royal has played so insanely well in this game, and he's got so many vessels still. Even with the plagued vessel, he's still finding critical value out of them. Look how many irradiates he's churning out, and not even losing any vessels in the process.
Oh, the tanks are just trading so well too. Like, he's trying to get a couple of kills with some Lings here under the Dark Swarm. I mean, he is getting a few of those, but tanks are being replaced way faster than they can be killed. This Lurker actually gets in range and it gets underground, so he does manage to start clearing this. Not bad, actually, from Action. This is maybe too little too late, but definitely what he needs to keep himself alive right now.
Yeah, you almost caught those 2 tanks on the exit as well. It's just... Royal is just a bit too everywhere at the moment, and there's a lot of trades that Action is expecting to go his way that don't. Like those tanks that were restored earlier, Action didn't know that they were restored, so he sent in those Zerglings expecting all of those tanks to just be blown apart, and they weren't. So every trade, that's a pretty nice plague though on the vessels, but every little value trade that Action's going for, he's not been able to find. So slowly but surely, Royal is bleeding him out of this game. He's finally established another gas expansion, but Royal already pressing the issue on that. There is a flank that's starting to be mustered by Action, though. He's going to try and hit this from both sides and see if he can dislodge this position. Lovely preemptive D-Matrix on one of those tanks. He's getting a couple of Dark Swarms in a good location. He actually didn't sandwich on both sides. He's got units at the natural third in the bottom left, but he didn't actually bring them up to flank this, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to break this, man. I guess he gets on top of the tanks and starts to get the reset on that, but this is just throwing a bit of water on the fire. Like, the economy of Royal is still insane. Look at that bank right now. 8,000 minerals. He's a central banker today. Just sitting on a big fat stack of gold coins, and this is going to be very hard to dislodge him from this game, to make him quit when he's got so much money to work with. He can remax with mech pretty easily, and has not been dissuaded from mining over in that top right. I mean, maybe Action clears this. Maybe he keeps these bases alive. But even if he does, man, it's just so hard to hold Royal back for any amount of time, to keep him on the back foot and to actually get some damage going on Royal's side of the map.
It is like, show me the money levels of resources that he's got available to him, and he's still utilizing them pretty cost efficiently. No matter what Action's doing, he's always finding a way of trading well. He's still not been able to clear out these vessels despite them being played multiple times. GG is called. Royal gets the all-kill prize, smacks down like 5 players in a row. Well deserving of that prize, and will also be able to go to that Dr. Yoon beauty facility and get some pampering, or give it to a girl or something. I mean, you got to take your hat off to Royal, man. He's played some of the best games that I've seen from him in at least a year.
All right, that one guy out there, congratulations to you. The one guy who bet on Royal to get an all-kill this week. Your 1,000-to-1 odds just came up, and you're going to be taking home your brand new yacht, man. Like, good for you. Jesus, that was a surprise. That was a shock, but I guess I should never be surprised with KCM. It's always a crazy tournament. It's always upsets here and there all over the place, and today is no different, man. Look at us converging back in week 6, and it looks like we're gonna have a very hotly contested semifinals here.
I'm loving to see it, Sam. It's so common that by this point in the season, you've got at least one race that's just kind of flatlining. And if you look at the trajectory in weeks 4 and 5, it did start to seem to be a bit of a trend for Terran, where they just weren't going to have much of a fighting chance. This was the week they had to perform, and they didn't let us down. And the best possible circumstance occurred. Protoss got 0 points, and now we have this really tight running, 5, 7, and 6 points respectively for Terran, Protoss, and Zerg. And now everything's to play for. Anything can happen. It's not just going to be like a guaranteed PVZ semi-final, CVT semi-finals anymore or whatever. Now we've got a real running between these 3 teams, and this makes for one of the most exciting KCM seasons looking like this.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here at the KCM here for week 6. Big shout out to everybody who supports our DuoCast Patreon page. Shun Sayin DuoCast at Patreon. Sayin Shun DuoCast at Patreon. We really appreciate it, guys. Kind of wacky as well. I mean, we even had first person. Is that the first time we've ever had a first person cam in KCM?
I think so. I mean, I could be mistaken, but yeah, I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking that's the first time we've had to cast from an FP VOD where the observers lagged out and we have to go to the player cams. That was actually kind of exciting and interesting. Even though it wasn't a very close game, like, it would be so much better if that had happened in a more even footing and we get to see like just how much of a monster Best is at chewing through tank lines. But it still was really interesting because, I mean, Royal was playing way better than usual. So it was really fascinating to see, you know, him playing in his element and executing so perfectly with his tank control and positioning and having them spread perfectly, and the mines covering the flanks. The scans were so crucial as well, identifying the army movements of Best. It's so important in TVP to keep track of that Protoss army non-stop, and yeah, he made it look easy.
Yeah, these other players are going to be side-eyeing him for the upcoming Pro League and ASL runs. Definitely wondering what this guy is truly capable of after a run like that. Certainly he's been underestimated lately, not least of whom by us. Like, I don't know if it was during the beginning of the KCM here today or if it was right before Shin and I were talking, and I said that maybe they're underestimating the Terran lineup, and I said you know, Russian
You
barracks
talk
are
about
pretty
that, yeah.
strong. Russian barracks are pretty strong. I didn't even mention Royal.
We didn't even. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, yeah. But Russian barracks are pretty good. I guess they got Royals, so it's not that much of a big deal. But yeah, no, we both totally underestimated Royal, and yeah, shame on us, I guess, because he played fantastically this week, and definitely eating our words.
It's always a joy to be surprised at the results of a StarCraft match and see somebody rise, whether that's, you know, somebody new or somebody coming back from a hiatus or from a slump. It's always awesome, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.